When you watch Hazbin Hotel or Hell of a Boss, what's the first thing that you always think about? Me, I like to think about it as a 14-year-old girl's old rat pad story, filled with unnecessary yaoi and unnecessary edginess to it. And of course, who could forget the main character? Actually, yeah, the main character is pretty forgettable. Today we're gonna be talking about Charlie Morningstar, the main character that got all her potential sucked away by horrible writing. But before that, hi, my name is Sona. Welcome to the Sona Bro YouTube channel. I just post whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want, and if you don't like cursing, get the fuck out of here! By the way, did you guys realize that I put a loud warning in the middle of this goddamn video? Yeah, my last video had a really loud sound effect that probably bothered a lot of people, and I just wanted to say, my bad, lol. I'll do my best to put loud warnings when there should be. Also, don't think I didn't notice that 2,000 plus subscriber count on my channel. Holy shit, there's a lot of you guys. Hi! Also, there's a lot of ladies here. Hello! Anyways, let's just get back to the original point of this video. Charlie Morningstar. Boy, do I have a lot to say about her. Am I disappointed that her character isn't as great as it should be? Hell fucking yeah! Her design is cute in my opinion, her attitude is adorable, but I gotta be honest, some points in the show, her character just seems overshadowed at times. The first point I want to make is how much she gets overshadowed by all the other characters. An example of this would be the constant hyping up of Alistair, the constant hyping up of Angel Dust, the constant hyping up of every other character other than Charlie. And there's nothing wrong with making any other interesting character, but if Charlie's your main character, shouldn't you be hyping her up more than others? I guess the point I'm trying to make in this is, Charlie, as the protagonist, often seems overshadowed, and not necessarily with the characters in itself, but with the constant focus of world building. If you wish to have world building in your story, that's completely fine, but if your main character gets hindered by it, that's a sign to change shit. Another thing I want to point out is her lack of emotional intelligence. If I'm gonna be 100% honest right now, I feel like Charlie's whole character is surrounding herself with a savior complex, which ultimately, again, leads to the lack of emotional intelligence that she has in her character. Nothing wrong with having any flaws with characters, but if your character's flaws are constantly hindering the engagement with your audience, especially if this is your main character, you're doing something wrong here. An example of this is when she struggles to understand the complexities of her surroundings. Yes, I wrote that down because I was gonna forget. Specifically when interacting with characters such as Angel Dust. Her naive attitude towards the situation that he's currently in leads to awkward tensions, which causes the unlikability between her and the audience to increase even more. Here's when that whole savior complex thing that I mentioned before comes into play. She's too busy trying to save the day to even realize that Angel Dust is in a horrible situation. We're not gonna talk about that. And not to sound like a broken record, but when I watched that episode, she pissed me off low-key. Charlie's naive attitude causes her to have limits with her other connections. This is also shown in her connection with Vaggie.
So happy that my dad let me go to heaven, even though, it was like off screen, because, the editor is lazy. Yeah, that's really great, honey. Although I'm not gonna go with you. Oh, but that's such a shame. I already made reservations for both of us. Oh, yeah, okay. Disregard my boundaries and feelings. Awesome.
Speaking of Vaggie, let's just talk about the relationship between her and Vaggie. Her relationship with Vaggie seems so empty. There's nothing to build it up, and even with that whole backstory thing, it still feels empty. Vaggie's whole character is, oh, I'm in love with Charlie. I wonder what Charlie's doing. How's Charlie? Just like a certain somebody that we know in the Helliverse. But Charlie doesn't really reciprocate those feelings. Sure, we get a cute little love ballad between both of them, and there's some cute moments, but again, they all just lack anything. They don't really seem romantic to the point where I just want to see more of it, if you know what I mean. And coming from the audience perspective, I feel like that would make her be hated even more. Vaggie constantly wondering how Charlie's doing and how Charlie is feeling, versus Charlie seemingly not really reciprocating that. It makes Charlie not seem, again, emotionally aware. Her emotional naivety, honestly, it gets annoying at some point. I feel like you could only go so far with that. Here's another point also, I mentioned this briefly, but finally, after 6 episodes, episode 7 is the one who actually gives a fuck about Charlie. Sure, Alistair is in it, but Alistair doesn't completely overshadow her. And there's another character called Rosie, which again, doesn't completely overshadow her. I'm just gonna pause before I explain my point. Why did it take so goddamn long for the main character to finally get an episode dedicated to her? What the fuck was the writing team doing? I get it, right? If you didn't know that your show was gonna get a season 2, you want to push as much lore into the one season as possible. But damn, you could have at least gave her an episode first, and then all the other side characters an episode. It's not really that hard. But going back to what I was originally saying, episode 7 was generally Charlie's episode. Fucking finally. Rosie actually redirects the whole entire plot to Charlie. And in the process of it, we can actually get some lore drops with Rosie. And a little bit of Alistair, but we're not fucking talking about Alistair. This episode redeemed Charlie. I swear to God it did. Her emotional naive bullshit just went straight out the window, because the episode prior actually showed that her reality of things got fucking crushed. Thank God! When Charlie's talking to Rosie, the audience can finally see that Charlie cannot process her emotions correctly. Yeah, sorry for that. I don't know why my voice cracked like that. Which in my opinion is so much better than,
My name's Charlie Morningstar, and I don't understand anything that's going around me because I'm so quirky, and la 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 lily.
if that whole segment with her not being able to process her emotions correctly was clearer in the beginning of this series, I feel like people would genuinely fuck with her more than she is not. Because throughout the whole show, she just seems so emotionally selfish. Yeah, sure, she was a sweet, kind character, but in the grand scheme of things, she never truly understood what everyone else was feeling. Which again, goes all the way back to what I was saying, that it limits her connections with other people. Overall, Charlie Morningstar is genuinely a poorly written character due to the over-focusing of everything surrounding her. She's a character that goes with the setting, and she's not really her own person. Until later on into the show, which is really bad if this is, again, your main fucking character. Hopefully in future seasons, her character is much more focused on, because she is the leading lady, the leading star. I don't know why she isn't, but she should be. I'm repeating myself. Damn. Now, this is probably me just trying super duper really hard to like have hope, but maybe throughout this whole season 1, they were trying to build up some things to make her important later on. I don't know, that's just my theory. Please, Charlie! Also, because I know that all the Vivzipop Glazers are gonna come to me with pitchforks and all, this is my opinion. This is all my opinion. You guys can have different opinions. I don't really give a shit. Just don't go into my comment section talking about some, ooh, you're wrong, and you suck, and da. The internet's gonna have opinions. I'm gonna have opinions. You're gonna have opinions. I don't have to constantly agree with you. Sorry for that quick message. I just had to get that out of the way. Anyways,
Bye!